Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident Podcast. It is a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. On this episode, we are joined by Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza Podcast. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident Podcast, a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. We are happy to have one of our most favorite co-hosts, Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza Podcast. He is a 3-time nominee for the Best African Diasporan Podcast by the APVA, and he is from the Republic of Kenya in East Africa. His podcast has been featured on the Jollof Radio Media, and he was recently a presenter and ambassador for the 2024 Afros and Audio Podcast Festival. Welcome, Sambaza. Hey.
Hey, Jen, what's up? It's been a long time since we actually came online. And now that we're doing it incognito, nobody knows.
Yeah, welcome back. You had a lot of travel in the break here?
Yeah, I did. I did a lot of travel, caught flights. That's part of the thing we're going to talk about today, but later on. But like I said, it's been a long time, even since we did a recap.
Right, true.
Shouts to me looking for deals out there. I got me my new logo over here. You can see that's the new
Very
Sambaza.
Very snazzy.
So maybe, hopefully, you'll be seeing more of that and more merch, maybe hats or something like that. But it's something that I'm working on slowly. I'm grateful for everything that's been going on. If we talk about being an ambassador for the Afros and Audio Festival, the 6th annual Afros and Audio Festival that went down recently, we'll talk about it another time. It's not the one for today, but I want to take a quick shout out to Jollof Radio, who have featured us a lot. Oh yeah, see that picture? That's a money picture right there. But I think we're gonna give a shout out to Jollof Radio, because Jollof Radio has been trying to feature you. It featured me as Sambaza Podcast, and then now they're trying to feature you as Woke by Accident. And I think it's a great privilege to be put among that in the African perspective, seeing that our show is on both ends and features stories from both sides, and it impacts a lot of the people. I was also at somewhere that you are being mentioned in the African circle, so I want to say a good job.
Okay.
Featured all around. So hey, welcome to our part of the world.
Hey, I'm here for it. I definitely need to respond to my inquiry from Jollof, and I'm really excited about that. I know I sent to you like, oh my God, is this the same the same thing that you received? So yeah, I'm excited and looking forward to hearing what that mention will bring.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm happy for you, and we're looking out for that content that will highlight you in the Jollof Radio. What do we got for today, by the way?
For sure. And I'm excited. I mean, look, I would love to even travel to the motherland. Like, I'm ready to go, you know? Not you laughing.
Hey. I'd like to go there on that part of town too.
Yeah, I mean, you might be able to make that happen, you know, just make a call and charter your flight, your private
Hey,
plane, and make it happen, right?
you never know. What do they say? From my mouth to God's whatever.
Ears. For sure. So today we are going to get into a recap. Like you said, it's been a while since we've had our official recap, since the last recap. And then we also going to talk about catching some flights. Some people caught some flights recently. And so we will hear what those travels brought. Okay. So let's see here. So in this episode, special recap episode, we will revisit some key moments and discussions from our last four, our a little more than four, a handful of episodes. When whether you missed the episode or you want a refresher, this summary will highlight the main takeaways, memorable moments, and some listener feedback. So join us as we reflect on the insights shared by guests and the ongoing themes that weave together our recent conversations. So we have, and then also, as we mentioned, we will get into those catch and flight moments from recent travel. So, our last recap was actually episode 170. And so, yeah, so we're going to pick up right where we left off. And that puts us at episode 171. And this topic was empowering young voters. And we had a guest on that episode, political strategist Solana Patterson Ramos. So, thoughts on this episode about empowering young voters? We had a political analyst guest that kind of really gave us some inside knowledge. Your thoughts on this episode?
Oh, on that particular episode, what I'll say is it highlighted a lot of what people don't know on the background. We only
Mm-hmm.
look at the foreground and make all this noise, but there's something always that happens in the background that people really don't get a peek of. So when we get like somebody like Solana Patterson Ramos to come on the show and speak on it, I think that does help people understand more about
Yes.
voting and empowering young voters. And I think when the demographics come up and you look at the stats that we need to highlight on or we need to work on in terms of having young voters actually gaining traction, rather than let it
Mm-hmm.
be something to the older generation to be the ones concerned with voting. It does help a lot because I think all this time, and this is not even an African American issue, right, or or a
Mm-hmm.
USA issue. This is a worldwide issue
It
because
is.
when you're young and in your 20s, you don't really care about voting that much. It's all, I think, euphoric for you to be a voter. As you start having families and then you realize, okay, you know what, if I don't do these things, they're going to affect me sometime later in my life. Well, unless you're a political, you went to study politics, then that becomes something else different. But what I'm saying is, I think as you grow older is when you realize, okay, my security benefits are going to be taken off if I don't vote this way. This thing will happen around my city. Roads will not be built if things don't happen this way. So that is where we're trying to shift the balance off from the older generation being looked at as the ones who should be voting rather than looking at the younger generation, people who turn 18 and are eligible to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think voting is your right. You should take advantage of it.
Definitely. This is a really huge election that we're coming upon that is set to be historic, and more than one more reason why. And so I definitely want to have this episode when we were planning our topics and such, and wanted to have a voice that could shed some light. And I was proud that we did this from a nonpartisan standpoint. So it wasn't about supporting any particular candidate or person or party, but just about engaging young votership, period. Because like you said, it's different now. There's kind of that apathetic type of point of view from a lot of young people, and it's really crucial if you think about some of these things that impacts young people. Being able to be on your parents insurance, that's something that's not going to always be there, you know what I mean? So you need to pay attention. Even if you're in your 20s, these things affect you. But I was really proud of that episode. We did it from a nonpartisan standpoint. And one of the things that she mentioned that was really important, I felt, was that those surveys and things like that, that data, a lot of people avoid that like the plague, not doing those surveys, but it's crucial, especially for African Americans, people of color, to do them so that we're counted in those counts. So that data is actually real and significant and not just, puffed up numbers. So, she made a point to mention that, taking part of the surveys help for our numbers to actually count. So we definitely appreciate her being a guest. Shout out to Solana Patterson Ramos. Follow her. She is a great voice in the political scene. So, um, Sambaza. Okay.
Yes, you say it was a great show and added a different
Mhm.
aspect to it, and I liked it. I really had a great time with it. And
All right.
also remember that part where she had to look out and there was an incident, a blooper on the show.
Oh,
Weird,
yeah.
weird going on, and But anyway, that was one of the great things about being live, and
I
I
guess.
really, if you guys, you have to go back to watch the show, and then you'll see what we're talking about. So, yeah,
Oh yeah, I mean, she was so engaged. She was ready to join on right from her ride share or whatever. So yeah, we appreciate her for sure.
give us a view.
Okay, and so
Right.
that was episode 171. Please encourage you to go back to all these episodes, but want to break them down since our last recap, as we mentioned. And this one kind of went out of sequence, and I'm gonna give them to you in the order that they aired. So 173, yes, 173 went before 172, but don't ask. Okay, so 173 next was our understanding domestic violence with licensed mental health counselor Denise D. Moore, and we'll actually be revisiting that topic as we round out the month in celebration of domestic violence awareness, which really can be talked about anytime, no particular month, but there is, a lot of attention given in the month of October. So we'll be revisiting that topic again before the month closes. But on 173, we have a really dynamic conversation with Denise D. Moore, who is an excellent mental health counselor and advocate in the space. And we talked about understanding domestic violence and toxic relationships. So, not just, domestic violence and toxicity between partner relationships, but also friendships or any type of relationships that you may be in, and getting that those types of behaviors and recognizing those behaviors. So this one was deep. I recall sharing a story, and I'll touch on that more. But I'll let you share, Sambaza, any thoughts from this episode.
Oh, domestic violence. It's something which is kind of weird because she explained how it could affect somebody natural. Well, no, I don't want to say naturally, but out of the blue, you could be living in it and not realizing it. And when we talk about domestic violence, again, please don't ever look at domestic violence as being physical. It can be physical, emotional, and financial.
Yes.
That's part of it. Most people don't get that part, but it's worth something that you want to look at and have red flags. We call them red flags.
Mm-hmm.
That's a word that's been used most of the time, but those are important. So you can figure out where this is leading to, or what signs are are the ones that you should be looking out for. For the most part, men or women, we tend to be forgiving to a situation, thinking that we can correct it. While at that
Mm-hmm.
point, we're not correcting it; rather, we're engaging it and encouraging it, and that's where it becomes prevalent. And we did
Mm-hmm.
look at different perspectives, even in the financial, how it deals with your financial aspect of your life,
Mm-hmm.
and insurance, actually health. Your health, the companies lose money because remember you have to go to hospital, and they also they lose um, work hours because of you missing work out of this unfortunate incident or
Mm-hmm.
incident. Yes.
Yes, and I also want to bring up during that episode, understanding domestic violence. That was episode 173 with Denise D. Moore, who is a licensed mental health counselor. We talked about manipulation that that the person on the other side of these behaviors that do these type of behaviors. There's mental manipulation, the toxic behaviors. Shared a memory or story of being a child and a family member going through that, and the abuser who was the boyfriend of the family member. I didn't know that this was going on, and so I was tricked into letting him in, and I actually got in trouble with my parents and put on punishment. But it wasn't like viewed as, oh, he manipulated you and tricked you into doing X, Y, and Z. It was like, oh, I should have known better. But I'm like a kid. That's like Denise was saying, you were a kid, how were you to have known that it's not okay to do X, Y, and Z? You know what I mean? So and it's just funny how that particular moment kind of came to mind. But yeah, I mean, they'll manipulate and say anything, to get what they want, and tell your family members, any kind of great story, to get what they want. So we're, like I said, we're going to revisit this topic very soon and talk about those warning signs or red flags like you shared, and and how to get out of these situations. So yeah.
And
That's
just as a precaution, there's a domestic violence hotline that's out there.
mhm.
If you feel or think that you are being abused or are experiencing domestic violence, you can call 800-799-7233 or text 88788. And this is available in all languages, English, Spanish, and 200 plus through interpretation services. So they have someone ready for you in case you need any help. So please seek help if you feel that you need this.
Absolutely. There are resources out there. Thank you for sharing that, Sambaza. We appreciate that. We do have one comment if you want to address that before we go on.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Ed Campbell. As you say, peace family. We do appreciate you every time you always show up. You're 100% showing up, and we thank you for that always. Welcome to the show.
All right. Shout out to Ed, brother Ed. All right. And so, moving on was episode 172. Like I said, they're out of sequence. Don't ask. So 172 was next, inspiring voters with former political candidate Jay Kelly. All right. And so on this episode, we talked about inspiring voters. So on the episode with Solana, we talked about empowering young voters. In this episode, we talked about inspiring voters, just period. And we had a gentleman, Mr. Jay Kelly, who was a former political candidate. And so he actually was an acquaintance of you, Sambaza. And so would you like to share about Mr. Jay Kelly?
Oh, yeah. So, Mr. J. Kelly was a former political candidate. I met him at a function with a friend of mine, and we are actually supposed to go visit him too and
Okay.
attend the function together. But what struck us was the fact that he gave us the real version of what undergoes with the with politics. You know
Mm-hmm.
how he tried to get into politics, what got him into politics, and he has a very interesting story. We're just doing recaps, but if you go to that episode and listen to it, you will see. And if you have any ambitions to be, not it doesn't necessarily you being a political candidate. Let's just say you want to be an activist. You want to listen to or watch this particular episode because it gives you an understanding of what it takes to be a person who wants to engage with the local community. One fact I'm going to tell everybody: just because you do not win does not mean that you have not won the election or that particular race. What happens is when you go into a race and say, for example, it's two of you, you lose a race. America is more about statistics. They look around and see where did we lack, where did we gain, where did we lose, what
Mm-hmm.
kind of options are here, what can we do to make you better. So losing is not that you've lost, you can't make it the next time. No, what it is a baseline or benchmark to see what we
Mm-hmm.
can do better next time. So always look at it that way, especially when doing politics, when you're going to activism and anything that's out there. Always look at it as a loss is a benchmark to what you need to do to come back next time.
For sure. I definitely was inspired by him sharing his story of what basically lit the fire in him to get involved in politics. Um, those stories are usually the ones that really make voters and supporters follow a particular candidate when you have someone that was, no political experience, and then all of a sudden something happens in their life or in their community that just makes them want to basically change their whole life for the cause. And that basically was what he did. And so I was, inspired and ready to cast my vote, just for him sharing. But no, seriously, because he was so passionate about his community. The community he described when he said, the fields with the overgrown, I'm like, it sounded like a neighborhood here in my city, you know what I mean? And so I totally could relate to what he's talking to, and the way he described how he got people to follow him, I understand and I believe it, and I probably would have supported him had I lived in his town, because he was genuine. It wasn't a gimmick. Like he said, he didn't get fancy colors and all that. He said just simple black and white, and he just want the message to be out there. No fancy, fast talking sayings or anything like that. And so that's what people want, somebody authentic, someone who is sharing a real story, talking about storytelling again. Shout out to our storytelling friends that told us the value of that. And he really personified what that meant. And so, like you said, for anyone who just wants to really like put your goals in focus, that's a great episode to listen to. It's like someone who had that passion, that fire. You could hear it in his voice, what really got him going. Like you said, he didn't win that election, but the way he spoke about it, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but someone like that, it doesn't matter what they do, whether it's going into politics or starting your own business, they're going to be successful because, they have that it factor. And he definitely had that. So, kudos and salute to Mr. J. Kelly. You definitely felt the inspiration, and hopefully others did too, talking about voting for the upcoming election, and just period, taking care of your community, paying attention to your neighborhood, caring about your neighbors and things like that, coming together as a community.
Right?
Definitely. So, I think Brother Ed had a little response or comment.
Oh, so, Brother Ed said, thank you for always providing such empowering and inspiring information. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
That's awesome. Thank you. Okay, and so moving on in the recaps, because we have a lot of them. Okay, so the next one was episode 174. Again, don't ask, it's out of order. Natural Hair Appreciation with Miss Khadijah, who is the founder of Designs by Deej and the creator of the third annual Curls and Convo Natural Hair Summit, who just launched or had their summit over the weekend. We did support it. All right. And so kudos to her for having a successful event. Um, and we talked about the not only her event, but the importance of positive images in the media promoting natural hair and culture. She was such a lively young lady and guest. Had some great moments here. Any any memorable moments for you, Sambaza, on this one?
Oh, Khadijah, I think to me, I like the way she articulated herself regards to
Mm-hmm.
how hair is being, black hair and you know, I'd say the way ladies love their hair, the way ladies want to show off their hair. Now, uh, black hair products are one of the things that it's a marketing itself, and it's a
Hmm.
niche market. One that I'm pretty sure brands are salivating right now. They really want to get in. They know that the African American woman and the African woman do love their hair, and they got beautiful hair. And I think once they tap into that market, they are looking at exponentially growing.
Hmm.
So um, the difference, you see, the difference between you know um, the African American and the Caucasian is the style of hair. I think they're able to move their to kind of wash their hair and use the products right off and keep doing that over and over again. But the way we preserve our hair is different. Even as men, the way we preserve our hair and the way we take care of hair is different because of the texture and the style, which is actually different, right?
It is.
So I, I'll say that she has something going with her brand, and I like the fact that the way she started off with her calls and Convo Natural Hair Summit, which hey, we did give a prize winner to Denise Moon, and she should have gotten her information and attended that festival. But
Okay.
that's another story for another day. There was a winner on that particular episode, for that particular episode, and I think I'll say she's doing things right as a young
Yeah,
entrepreneur. Yeah.
absolutely. Definitely. Yeah, she definitely want we'll share her website in the show notes. Her website has a lot of great gifts, items that could be great for the holidays coming up, or if you have a gift to give someone. She has umbrellas and note cards and, like personalized items, backpacks, all kinds of nice items in her shop, designs by Deej. And so, and she's just a great, like you said, enterprising young lady, very focused and determined. The way she had, exuded her confidence was very inspiring from someone so young. I don't even think she's 35, and, she has a lot going for herself. And, I was proud to have her on. So, shout out to Miss Khadijah. We will share that and support her. So, yeah, for sure.
That'd
Okay,
be
so
awesome.
that was. Oh, go ahead.
I said that would be awesome to have to support her because it's a startup company and getting up somewhere, so you can be part of the group.
For sure. Maybe that could be some sort of collaboration. We have to look into that some more. But yeah, she definitely, has some great items. I was taking a look at the website, and she has, really nice items. So check out Designs by Deej. Support a black business. Okay, so that was 174. Moving right along, episode 175. This was a solo, or our host. We didn't have a guest on this one, so we spent
Right.
time, Sambaza and I, talking about the content creator's journey and navigating curveballs and marking milestones. So on this one here, we did a little research for you guys and gave you a nice episode. Thoughts on this? I know you shared a milestone, but we spent a lot of time talking about the content creator's journey.
Yeah, I was forgetting. I was like, what were we doing on that particular day? When I said nothing, when you said milestone, this one was like, ding, ding, ding. Okay. Yeah, I was entering the fifth year in podcasting, and
Hmm.
we did a birthday celebration. That was the highlight of the show.
Yeah.
It's a I think we were trying to not figure out, but we were trying to speak on how we'll keep going on, what it takes to move the needle from point A to point B, being that, podcasting is not easy. You gonna start somewhere, you say, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then at some point, this family, you have to put the fact that family is also involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
You have other things that might come and throw you as curveballs. The point is, even with all these curveballs, how do you react? How do you keep the 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 focus on looking at where you want to get to, then creating yourself some nice milestones, not heavy milestones, some nice milestones that you'll keep up. And I think, Jen, that's one thing I never said in my life. I never like to give myself like higher milestones than the ones I
Mm-hmm.
know achievable, because if you create yourself like very high standards, you will never, some of them you'll never achieve them, or you'll find a hard time trying to achieve them. Just take some small steps, and each time you keep knocking it, you keep moving. But if you just put it like way up there, that's what I want to get to, and you only leave that part and not create staircases to get to that part, oh, it's going to be a problem.
Right. For sure, this was definitely a good episode. We appreciate it to share in your achievement and reaching your podversary. So we were happy to do that. I was just looking over some of the notes on that one. Oh yeah, on here we talked about like algorithm factors and things like that. So we did a little research on this one and just share some advice for maybe upcoming podcasters and how they can be more effective in this space.
And I think, is it from 175 is when we started doing the IG lives every Thursday. So this is a new introduction into our collective. We are now adding a Thursday IG live for about 30 minutes, where we pick the three
Mm,
best things that we highlight off of the show the previous day. What this does is, if you missed the show today, there's at least a recap you will get, and then you can come back to it and say, okay, is this a show that I really want to see? And also, we're reaching out to our Instagram followers as well, so they can have a chance to kind of recap and know who we are, and brings us, it gives us visibility out there. I don't know if you can make it to TikTok, but someday.
For sure. And that was your idea. So we appreciate you sharing that because I don't think I would have thought that far to take it to the IG. Definitely on IG, but to, do the lives. Sometimes I get a little shy at that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it helps to have someone on the other side. So we appreciate you engaging for that.
Well,
Okay. Moving right along, episode 176 was our Creators Roundtable with Black Podcasters Association founder Corey Gumbs. Shout out to Corey Gumbs, who we actually got to meet recently over the weekend. And he really just gave us a lot of great information and just spent so much time with us, which you just forever grateful for that. Sharing the vision behind, partnering with the conference, for example, Afros and Audio, and just the vision for the Black Podcasters Association, and giving us a lot of background information of like how they even came to be, the idea, a challenge, and then he just kind of, put it into fruition. And your thoughts, Sambaza?
that was uh, a testament to how communities can be grown from really scratch. Because I can say we were part of that founding group. I know I'm not called a founding member, they don't do that, but hey,
Yeah.
there we started off that because we were part of that group. And then we got in, I think we were in Clubhouse, he took it off of Facebook Clubhouse, worked from there, and then he moved and created his own portal. And one thing I like about um, where he's moving gears to. He's trying to make sure he gets as much of the black entrepreneurs who are
Mm-hmm.
in this space of either hosting
Mm,
or doing video or anything. He tries to incorporate them in that Black Podcasters Association. Why? Because I think in in him advancing them will bring visibility to us because he's doing the searching, then giving us the information, and then we are asked, hey, do you want to consume this product that's out there for you? And I think with that, we get the chance to make our minds up instead of just going for the traditional stuff that we always get looking in our faces every single day. So somebody could be a startup that might need some help, 5 6 people in, maybe 10 20 30, we'll make it happen. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, that idea that he has in mind of promoting black businesses and bringing a black community together in terms of podcasting and the podcast community is worth celebrating always.
Definitely. Excuse me. No, but yeah, like you said, totally a testament. You can have an idea and make it come to life. You can create a community. There's people on the other side of that seeking the same thing you're seeking, and you really can bring it together. And he actually did just that. So, like you said, we met each other and the other professionals in the space through these communities, Black BPA, Black Podcasters Association, and just the network is huge. And really important, valuable creators and professionals that that have the potential to do really great things or have done great things, and definitely willing to support and work with each other. So it's really a great organization. Speaking of the Black Podcasters Association, so if you are maybe just getting into content creation and just looking for some additional um, advice or, sounding board type of space, I would recommend Black Podcasters Association for sure. And then you'll find out about some other things like the Afro's Audio Podcast Festival that organizes a really great conference for the audio professionals. And the resources are incredible there too. And BPA partners with Afros and Audio. So it's really, a great organization. Both are great organizations.
And also, Black Podcasting Awards is part of, they're
Yes,
collaborating. So it's a circle
for
of a lot
sure.
and a lot of collaborations there.
It really is like, and you mentioned the Black Podcasting Awards. Shout out to them. Shout out to Demetrius, who is behind the Black Podcasters Award. I was nominated in the past, and I didn't submit this time, but they actually reached out to me to be a part of this online ceremony anyhow, and I did, and I didn't know if they were going to use what I submitted, and they actually did use it, and I think it came out pretty great. So, reach out to these organizations that have opportunities. That's something that I can kind of put in my own, clip bin, if you will. If you're looking for clips, these organizations have opportunities like that. I was really proud of that piece, and so you can have something like that to put in your folder, resume, clip, reel, and
Right.
so, and it's really, all for, I'm not going to say for nothing, but for the effort and the community networking piece of it.
Yeah. Well, you can't say nothing because you spend some time sitting and
Yeah, for sure.
reading it out, and then kind of figure out which one, what to speak on, and how to project it.
But I mean, other spaces, you may have to pay for, some of these opportunities, I mean, and actually there is a cost for being a member of the Black Podcasters Association, very small and, achievable cost, for what you're getting, exclusive workshops and presentations catered just for the audience. There's so many different things that come with that. So the amount is definitely doable. So yeah,
And it doesn't mean that you have to be African American. You can be African as well and join in. It doesn't matter where you're from. You can just join in. It's the only name is Black Podcasters, but I think they'll allow anyone to come in and break bread.
For sure. And yeah, there's partnerships to be had all over, like, internationally, global. Everybody has a global podcast here, so we definitely take this very seriously. So that episode is a great one with the founder of that organization, Corey Gumbs. So we recommend and invite you to check that one out. Episode 176, the Creators Roundtable with BPA founder Corey Gumbs. Okay, moving on. Episode 177. Almost there. A couple more. Episode 177 was our Creators Roundtable with brand strategist Chris Ward Jr., also known as the storytelling coach. And so Chris Ward had an excellent dynamic conversation with us talking about storytelling, and we actually asked him to kind of cater it to us and give us that storytelling information in mind of someone that may have an introverted type of personality. And so, he actually did just that. And so he shared his story, and he also, shared about how that could impact someone who feels that they are introverted. And so it was great. What do you think about that?
Let me tell you guys. Um, if there was a show that was entertaining, it's that one, right? I
Mm-hmm.
know, I know, all the shows are entertaining, but when you're looking at brand strategies and looking at somebody who's giving you hope, who's giving you ideas of how you want to move on with your life skills, your personal goals, your anything that you want to do, or you have a problem with anything that's going on around you, oh, he has a solution. He has a solution, and the solution comes so great. I think having done the the podcast with him from that stance and getting to know him much better than the way I knew him before, I think he's the most live person that you could ever want to be around. He's a very
Yeah.
great human being. All the people that have come on the show are great human beings, but let me put it like this: everyone has their space around you, and Chris has his space around us, and he did present as well, and he gave quite a presentation, and like as always, he talks about being all the time on brand, being on brand all the time,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and he is always on brand all the time, be it in the morning, lunchtime, evening, and night. He is always on brand, and from from the times I've engaged with him, with the way he talks about things and the way he gave us the nuggets on how to present us, how to make a presentation,
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking that in mind. I am using that for my next presentation that I'm going to be doing sometime next year in January, I think somewhere around there, sometime there. There's a presentation that's coming up. Well, but it's not for today. We're going to announce it next time we come on the show, and I'll give a big reveal. Dun, dun.
Okay, we'll look forward to that. But now you did participate in a panel recently after having that conversation with Chris. Any thoughts that you kind of carried in that you would share?
I think with what he taught, and also I had to go look at other people the way they present. It didn't shape up the way I was making my presentations, and I was very intentional about what I wanted to give out and what I was trying to explain within a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Considering that, us podcasters love to talk, but I had to kind of make sure that I'm time conscious and had to curate myself to whereby I'm giving you the right information, giving you the what works and what helps you without having to have this long rambling moment. And it's been a it's been nice having to learn that and making or utilizing it. And I think I also learned it here. I keep using it here on this particular show, and it does help when you work from here and you go to spaces where you're in panels.
Right.
You get straight to the point of what you're being asked for and what you need to say, and you keep moving on, bearing in mind that time is of the essence.
And he did tell us that it is a muscle and you have to practice it. You know what I mean? And I feel like you are doing that, and it is, you're getting,
Getting better. You never know.
yeah.
It's going to get better, and sometimes you think you're the best, then something comes and shows you, like, hey, you know what? Hey, it's not it.
This ain't it. But no, for sure. I, got a chance to see your present, participation on the panel, and I, definitely felt like your storytelling was authentic, engaging. You definitely looked for the audience to, you know, I'm just okay. Okay. So no, we're gonna spend time talking about that. I do have a few pictures I'm gonna show at the end, but we'll spend
We
more
got a
time.
whole show. We got a whole show just for that.
Well, yeah, we will. We will. But
And I
since
think
you,
if we have time, we'll probably invite the other people who are, who may want to come and join in. It's something like that. But we'll figure it out. But that's one show that you don't want to miss. And we'll talk about our experiences.
but yeah, but Chris, talking about Chris Ward, he definitely makes an impression when he speaks. Even when he was just speaking with us, how he tapped into our plights that we expressed, our concerns of when we were public speaking, and really gave us attention specific to us, which I wasn't expecting that at all, because clearly he that's not you know where he operates on, but he still brought himself to that level, you see. And I want to be that type of speaker that it doesn't matter if I'm over here, I recognize you're over there, and I'm going to come down to where you are to relate to you. But then I'm going to take it back to where I am. And that's exactly what he does, almost like a chameleon. He just brings himself down, and very relatable, but definitely makes it, he's definitely stood out from the others, without getting specific,
Maybe there's something I'm missing. Something I'm missing. There's a picture I'm missing of something that he got. I don't know. Did you take it?
I have one, but you're not in that one.
Where he has that thing. It doesn't matter. I think I need to have that one to show, yeah, what it is. We'll do that next time. We'll get you got that.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. If you got it, then we good. I just want to make sure we have it.
Okay. But no, I just have a few that we'll show at the end here, but
Right. Just those. Yeah.
okay.
Next one. This
All
this
right.
one this one was really exciting. I think this was heartfelt and yeah.
Yes. Okay, so we're now bringing it over to 178, and this was making a difference in your community with Trillion, co-founder of Bright Futures Family Services LLC. And so, shout out to Trillion, Miss Alicia. So your thoughts on? I'll let you share.
At least Miss Trillian and Miss Alicia was great. Um, I think the part where she's very honest is because of whatever she's experiencing, whatever she's trying to put out to us is something that has gone on in her life. So whatever she's projecting and whatever she's going through, some people, and I'm not taking away from what they're doing. Some people have a heart and really take care of people, and they're really doing it to help others. But then when it comes from you having that experience, it's it's different. It takes another perspective.
Mhm.
And the zeal and the energy that you put into the work is quite different than someone who just, you know, goes out there and says, "Hey, I want to help." Yes, I have the heart, I have the zeal, but two things are missing. you haven't experienced it. So she has this,
Right.
whatever she's talking about, and then she wants to give out, help out with the food. She has a plan, and we gave some suggestions, and she was willing to discuss it and look at all the suggestions and answer the questions. And you could tell the way she had it planned is it's gonna work. It's gonna work. Um, there's that human element as well in her that she shows us. So yeah, that was one great show.
It was definitely happy to have had Trillian on. I've come to meet her in Clubhouse space too. We've met a lot of our friends and acquaintances in the Clubhouse space, and we've just been kind of hanging for a couple years now. And I just support all her endeavors, and she's just such an outgoing and bright light. And you just can't help but be in I want to say, cut take over her bright light is just so it takes overtakes you, her personality, and you just definitely want to support her with what she's doing. She shared that she's working on this great business, this full agency, Bright Futures Family Services, that was aiming to help women and children who are in various stages of need, whether they're displaced and houseless, or maybe someone coming out of incarceration and getting back into society needing assistance, or maybe it's a woman who is in a domestic violence situation needing assistance, someone trying to get their kids back, all these different things that they're her agency is aiming to help folks with these type of needs. And yeah, she wanted to share about what she's doing. We also had a conversation about the unhoused population and food insecurity in the US, and how that kind of ties in with what her organization is aiming to do. So I thought that was a great conversation. We had been talking about in our brainstorming sessions of talking about food insecurity. So this is a great way to kind of put that out there. We had shared some statistics about food insecurity and how it really, when we talk about the states who are hit heavily with it, New York is right there in the top, and that's the community that she'll be serving um, with her organization. So it's definitely right on time, and we support her. And shout out to Trillion.
Yeah,
So,
she was like, I did have fun with her. And, well, hopefully she can travel to Kenya like she has said.
oh, we did talk about that. You know what? I actually just texted with her today. She asked me to do something for her, so I got to remember to do it. But yeah, yeah,
She still wants to
definitely.
come back on the IG live too. She said something
Oh yeah, yeah. I
about.
sent her our picture, and I was like, check this out. So she was like, oh, I love it. Yeah. So for sure we'll have to make that happen, because like I said, these episodes, we knock this content out very fast, but it's still alive. Pull it up. Refer back to it. These things are evergreen intentionally so that we can ha 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 have these conversations.
Talking about that.
And yes, come on, Evergreen. And refer back to it, and have these conversations, so definitely we'll be revisiting this topic again. The homeless population and just food insecurity is a topic that, is with the election. Oh my God, it's so many different topics in this area that we can share on. So we'll definitely be revisiting this and get some updates from her as she gets further along in her goals with her business, the Bright Futures Family Services LLC, that is aiming to help the families in the New York City area specifically. All
But
right.
she still plans on moving out to others.
Mm-hmm.
She's not planning on just staying with the in the New York area. She's planning on moving other areas, and then
Right.
hopefully it will it will work. And I'm going to say I wish you all the best, and you got this. You got
For
this.
sure. And, support and resources are needed. So, come through with support,
Yeah.
tributes, you know what I'm saying? Come through and we can make that happen. It's definitely be going to a good, source that is aiming to help the community. So, moving right along, and I think this will put us caught up once we go here. And then this is one that Sambaza wasn't here
Oh, wow.
for. So, yeah. So, episode
Right.
179. Episode
It's,
179?
I
It
am.
was.
I, I was busy,
You
doing this.
were. You
Yeah,
were.
chilling
Sambaza.
somewhere, under cocoa something. You were busy, but that's. I'm gonna let you roll. Go ahead.
So briefly, I'll share on 179. Sambaza was not here for this one, but we had the opportunity to sit down with the good brother Beats Gordy and get into some Diddy updates and pop culture talk, and some Diddy, no Diddy updates. So yeah, we so much has happened, but at this point, it was right after the indictment. So we talked about the indictment of Sean Diddy Combs, and his arrests that occurred in New York on charges including sex trafficking, racketeering, and this came after a year-long investigation that was sparked by allegations from the ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, who previously accused him of abuse. And so, following her claims, there's been so many other accusations and things like that, but he, is in custody and has been denied all of his bail inquiries. So we just kind of had a conversation about that matter, and yeah, got into some pop culture, which we love pop culture and music, in addition to our political topics and um, oh my god, mental health topics and all of the other topics. We occasionally will talk about some pop culture and music, just to kind of round out the podcast. So yeah, we had a good time with Beats. Shout out to Beats. Please follow Beats on all the social media. He makes some really entertaining and humorous videos too, which he monetizes. So he'll definitely support the follows. Like on Instagram, TikTok, you can follow Beats Gordy and find some pretty humorous, funny videos. And this, from time to time, he'll kind of give you like some history, music history moments and things like that about some classic music songs and things. So shout out to Beats Gordy. Okay, so that was our episode with Al Sambaza. And
Think about that B Diddy, P Diddy thing.
uh-huh.
It just becomes weirder, more weird and weird and
Oh
weird.
yeah, right?
So I'm just. I'm just gonna wait until somewhere, then I can start following it. But right now, it just becomes more weird and weird.
It's like every time you turn on the news, there's more accusations, there's more it's just like worse, or than like how Bill Cosby, like all the different accusers just kept coming and coming and coming.
And back in the day, they used to talk about his parties. Those where the all white parties, July 4th
Hmm.
parties. I thought those were one of the best parties you would ever go to, because you were food, drinks, everything.
Well, apparently the white parties were a thing, and then the freak offs were another thing. So
Oh, okay.
it's not one and the same. That's, he has to have like the front of the clean cut,
Okay. Okay.
parties, and then apparently once it gets a certain hour, it's a different story.
Right.
So yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I just feel bad for the
of course.
children involved, but yeah,
Yeah. You see, the thing is, there are different families involved here. The
it
people
is.
that Diddy's family only, but him as being the victim, but the other people who claim to be victims and it's innocent,
Absolutely.
guilty, is what is there. So I mean, for me, I got no comment. I'll just watch and see how's going on. Both sides, sorry for what has ever happened or anything, but
Right.
truth be told, when it comes out, then we'll know, according to what evidence is going to be presented, and
Hmm.
then I can come up and say my part. But as of right now, I don't know anything, so I leave that to the ones that know what
True.
we do.
I mean, yeah, everybody deserves their day in court, even, people like Jeffrey Dahmer and the Menendez brothers. So, he'll
Maybe of the
eventually, right. So, yeah, he'll eventually have his day in court, apparently in May, which is, quite a while away.
hey, that's lawyers. See, that's what we tell you.
Hmm.
And if you're paying my retainer every month. We, anyway, Jen, let's talk about me.
Yes.
Me.
Okay, so this was the last one. So now at this point of the show, we will talk about catching flights. Catch flights, not feelings. And you caught a flight
Yeah,
international.
usually, yeah. And usually it comes around October.
Hmm.
I think this is the first time we're coming through as a collective and hanging out together. So people don't realize that. But for the last about 10 or so years, I've been going to Kenya in around, well, it's not been in October. It's always very, but for the most part, the last few years, it's been in October. So what I do is every October, I take 2 weeks and go to Kenya and visit family, handle family business, and then take some time off, maybe a day. I'll take the time off and hang out. That's not me there, but part of the whole deal was also, just leave it there. Part of the whole deal was, oh no, you can take it back, because
Okay.
part of it um part of the deal was I am an elder now. So being an elderman, I had to go look for those that particular attire for the afros and audio. So it was an experience in itself to go look for it. However, I culturally misappropriated it by wearing that Maasai blanket on the,
Mm,
because I didn't have something to show the. It needed a red. It was supposed to be red. Yeah, it's a red um blanket, just like the one that's supposed to be there. I didn't have
right.
one, so I had to kind of accessorize differently. So that's what I went to do partly. Um, what do you want to know about Kenya? Kenya is a very beautiful country. It's a
Right.
country of a lot of potential. Business is great. I want to get in. Well, I'll get into politics a little bit. There's a lot of politics going on right now, and
Mm-hmm.
this is one thing about Kenyan people. They're very resilient. So when things go on like that, they're always trying to find a better way and find options. And I think it's generally with all human beings. Even at the point where you're being in your lowest, you always try to find something that will keep you going. And like they said, you you kill a man with having no hope,
Mm-hmm.
and we're always a hopeful people. So whatever is going on right now, we had the Gen Z protesting, we have things.
Right.
We also talked about it on the show, right? So there are those moments that things are going to happen in terms of the elections. The food prices are going high.
Mm-hmm.
However, when you get there, you don't see these things happening, but they do happen on the background. You do see them. So for me, you have to follow me on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook to be able to see more of the trip, because I'm going to post all the videos and content that I have. Um,
Okay.
Great pictures, great scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But this is in my view, because I travel differently, unlike other people. Um, what was the most fun part? The most fun part was staying at a resort. Well, I kind of was sleeping there because most of the time I'm out, in and out. It's
Okay.
called Saffron. Man, this is magical. If I should
Hmm.
it is magical. Um, I love it. And then I also went to the beach. Um, that, that it, it, I'll show you the pictures. Oh, then we had a walk that I had
Mm-hmm.
to do, not I had to. Well, my sister got into me to do that. So this walk we had to walk about 30 kilometers, which comes up to 18.46, I think, somewhere about there, miles, which is more than
My
half
gosh.
marathon. Yes, we had to walk. We went to walk on a road that's just been opened, and it was historical because they say 2,000 people registered for the walk and actually joined. That was the most that have ever come onto the walk.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, and it was, I met different people, you know, and it really, I felt at home because at some point it was just me walking. I did not have There was nothing different about me because most of the time when I'm going somewhere, I'm going for type of thing that I'm looking for. Like either I'm going to an office to do something, I'm going to do this. No, this time was just pure relaxation, walking. It was a long walk though. 30 kilometers is no joke. But we
Heck
walked and
yeah.
walked at a slow pace, no hurry. I wasn't part of the
Mm-hmm.
front pack, and I could have been on the front pack if I wanted to, but I just decided let me just walk slowly. With my one of my sister's friends, and we had a certain pace, and the pace worked
Mm-hmm.
fine. We got there, and we were not really excessively tired. She was, I wasn't. And then that culminated to everything. Oh, one more thing. I managed to get to blankets and wine. So this is, yeah, how could I forget that? So, so this is once a month where, as they say, blankets and wine. You have this. It's a curated festival where
Mm-hmm.
they bring in artists from Kenya who are not known. They're not going to be like your famous. There'll be some famous ones, but they'll bring in the ones that are not known, like underground artists, and then they'll feature
Right.
one African artist, right? And they say, from what I've heard, that African artist does not close the show. It's a Kenyan artist that usually closes the show. This time it was somehow different. However, so you go there, they have these blankets, you bring in your blankets and you sit down and you have your wine, your coolers, you come sit down, you enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was packed. It was packed. I went solo because I wanted to experience the whole scenario without having to look around just to be around somebody else or friends, because that kind of would have thrown me off as an observer. So I was just like observing and fitting into whatever was going on. But I can tell you, the lineup, the concert, it was powerful. It was great.
Good. Good.
It's if you ever go to Kenya, make sure you plan and add blankets and wine to part of your itinerary, and it
Mm-hmm.
happens on a Sunday, so it gives you enough time to do stuff and then kind of chill on the Sunday. There's
Mm-hmm.
food. There's Oh man, you got to be there to experience it. But that was one of the highlights as well. So I did
Okay.
get to have all these highlights throughout the whole 2 weeks, and by the time I came back, I was tired. I was lag is no joke. Jet lag is no joke. But it was awesome. It was
Now you mentioned before that you International Podcasting Day was approaching around the time that you were going and you had some plans for that. Um did that work out or
no, because so when I went that day, I was supposed to meet Dan Aseda at they say they were holding a party, and I, I contacted him early in the morning. I said, "What's the plan?" And I contacted him somewhere during the day. I said, "What's the plan?" So I didn't get a definite answer, and I didn't want to just show up
okay.
and be get crashed. So I kind of waited it out and said, "You know what? I'll celebrate mine just by relaxing." So I relaxed somewhere with some friends,
Okay.
and it was great. They
Mm-hmm.
were not podcasting friends, but I had already created a podcast about podcasting day for
Mm-hmm.
people to enjoy. So I think I made my point at that particular day, that Monday, and yeah, that's what I'll say about it. With
Okay.
regard to International Podcasting Day, I would have wished to have, to be able to break bread with other podcasters, but that
Well,
didn't happen. Maybe next year,
okay.
yeah.
But you did capture some of the experiences that like the pictures, and you guys got some video clips or something that
Yeah.
you can use. I try to remind you of that, like, don't forget to take pictures.
Uh, I always take pictures, yes, but
Yeah.
I do appreciate the fact that you did make me realize that, oh yeah, I gotta take a picture here, I gotta take a picture here. Because sometimes I you get tired, or not really tired, but you get used to the stuff out there,
Hmm.
and you don't realize that there's a lot happening. And
Yeah. So, especially like, you going home, like, that you don't always get to see that often. So, like going near the, community shop or the store or the school, those are things you may want to
yeah,
capture.
yeah, I did go around the school.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was at a community center. It's
Okay.
small things here and there. So
And seeing the
yeah,
kids play and, just things like that. So,
right, right, right. And yeah, it was a great. And then I get to meet my family. That's another
hmm.
part of the travels. And hey, Jen, let me tell you, I was just doing a snippet. If I had, if I was going just to party, like the summer bunnies do in December, good Lord, the things I would have had, the content I would have had would be, yeah, amazing. Not that I don't have amazing content, but it would have been out of this world if I was to get you on an experience, like say I go to other parts of Kenya, because I was only concentrating on the coastal side. If I had gone
Hmm.
to the other side, oh, they're amazing things to see. Amazing things to see.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you had a good visit, safe. Anything to share about the business of, the protests and things like that? I mean, I know you talked about it briefly and that prices were impacted. So did the vote go a particular one way or the other, or
Yeah, we're not yet in the campaign mode. We have to wait till 2027. But it's the things that are going on that are the things that are going on are crafting a path to what type of voting will be done around that time, and that's what people are more keen on. There are some deals that are going on that Kenyans are staying woke about,
Mhm.
and oh, I have to tell you this funny instance, right? Okay, these deals are something that us Kenyans are following about, and we are trying to make sure that they don't go through. It's a conglomerate from India that's coming in and trying to take like all the deals. So it's like, why is one conglomerate trying to take all deals and all the energy into energy sector and everything? Things like those don't happen, because when you're in taking the energy sector and you want to go into like electric, and then you want to go into the airports, those are things that are really sensitive to your country. You don't want to give up
Mhm.
those, but that's a long story which we can get into. So remember when I left here, the I left and went back to Kenya. There were a couple of storms that were happening.
Right.
So I was at a restaurant, and I met these people, and we were having this conversation, and I was being introduced to them for the first time. So we were having this conversation, and then they're like, "Oh, did you see what was going on in America?" And I'm like, "What is going on in America?" They said, "Oh, there was a storm that hit somewhere." And at that moment, I realized, for the last 2 weeks, I had cut off myself from America, and I had no idea what was going on. But this
Mm.
particular person that I was talking to had a grip of exactly what was going on in America, plus how much damage the storm had done. I think that's the one that hit Florida
Mm-hmm.
last.
Mm-hmm.
But I was when he said it, I was thinking that it was the previous one that was happening right before I left, 2 weeks around the 2 week mark before I left. And when he said how much damage it was, I was like, really? And I was like, oh, maybe this is a new one that happened. And so when you look at it, look at that fact that as much as I am in America, I live here. I wasn't too keen on finding out more because I had left and gone there. But somebody else who was out of the country was more concerned and more aware of what is going on, which brings about the whole thing we were talking about when we were talking about the Gen Z stuff that was happening.
Mm-hmm.
It affects everyone. You don't know who's watching
Oh,
you.
absolutely.
Whatever happens on that side. The guy was actually feeling pity on me, and then I realized, oh yeah, see, we're all connected somehow, and in
Yes.
some way and form. Yeah. So that was my trip in short span. I used Air France. This is not a
Okay.
advertising for Air France, but Air France, if you want to pay for this podcast, hey, you're good. You can come and advertise. We will take it. Advertising dollars will help us move forward. But you have some pictures that we're going to share as we wind up the show regarding our Afros and audio experience. So,
Okay.
oh, by the way, before we forget, guys, Wasambazaji, you can always find me on all socials at Sambaza Podcast. So, Wasambazaji, I'll leave it to Jen to close the show and take us home as we watch and see our pictures. There we go.
Okay. Couple pictures from the 6th annual Afro's Audio Podcast Festival. Sambaza in his traditional outfit. And he was a presenter. He'll share more on that later. Let's see. Let me show you another one. Oh, not that one.
Oh, you trying? What are you trying to show us?
Oh, there's only two more. Okay, so I'll show you one of this fine group of people.
That
So,
that is the C4. So from
C4.
left to your right. So that's Dominic, the 24 award-winning podcaster, and then you have Lisa Wolfork. She's an
Dr. Lisa.
Lisa Wolfork, um, who is an award-winning podcaster, Black Stitch, and then we got is it Dr. Al Pete, Dr. Al Pete, or DJ Al Pete, who is having his NPN network and who also was DJing for us at the Sixth Afros and Audio Festival, Podcast Festival. Then we got Jan, yeah, Walk by Accident. There we go, yeah. And then we got S Squared, we call him S Squared. So Sean, and he is dripping in black as always. He's a producer for Dripping in Black, and yours truly, Sambaza from the Sambaza Podcast. So this actually forms almost the C4 collective. The guy who's missing is Crate Digger. So
Yeah, and some OG members, but that's okay.
I thought these were the OG members.
Huh?
I thought these were the OG members.
A couple, but that's
Oh,
okay.
there's one
It's
other guy. Oh yeah, I remember that other guy.
a
Yeah.
few others, but that's okay. They know who they are. But yeah, yeah. Shout out to everybody. Sean Smith, founder, creator, Drippin' in Black. Shout out to Drippin' in Black who did our original intro. So shout out to Drippin' in Black. Dr. Lisa Wilfolk. I don't know if you put the doctor in there,
Yeah,
but
there.
yeah. Yeah, we had a great time. So it was good to see everybody.
And
And we had some presenters. You and Lisa were in the program, and Al.
before you go out, this is one of the things that we like about, podcasting communities. When you have this picture, you meet up after having worked together offline all throughout the year, and then this is the time you actually meet up and hang out together. So it feels
Right.
the whole thing is coming to fruition.
True, definitely. We definitely have community within our own group. Like I said, if it wasn't for the BPA, we wouldn't have found each other,
Right.
likely, but we did. And, we kind of created community within the community. So it all kind of works out. But I know there's plenty of times where I hadn't reached out to a member, in the evening time, like, hey, I'm trying to figure something out. I need help, or someone puts it out there like, hey, who can do blah blah blah, and you have those people you can kind of lean on, and it's been great. It's nice. It's nice. Everybody doesn't have that, but this is what some community can do for you. So
Right. And it's niche. It's a niche, and
it
from
is.
you sprout out to bigger things and better things.
Yeah, and it's genuine and organic, and it's not like, once no one's doing this for likes and, money and things like that. I mean, if you decide to hire somebody that is a professional, that's on you, but it's not, it's just, genuine care and, encouragement. And then if you decide to, make some deals happen, that's on you. And a lot of people have decided to work together and professionally and things like that. um so yeah, so we just want to shout our folks out.
Yep.
And then, oh, go ahead, Sambaza.
No, no, I was just saying, yep.
Yes. And then one other shot of you and I think. And then I'm gonna wait the other ones for some of our, because we have to meet a lot of our guests that we've had on, but I'm gonna hold that one back because I was working on some content. I want to actually like put the episode numbers up and a link of the actual episode on the post. So I'm like trying to get myself together to put those up. But yeah, this is a shot of me and Sabaza. This actually got to meet in person for the first time, so it's kind of funny. Kind of funny.
That was really cool.
Yeah, and so we'll post the I think I made a video when you were driving in the car. He was nice enough to drive me around a few places because he had a rental car. So that was nice. So some Baza, he was my buddy for the weekend. So I had a little bit of anxiety going into a big city where I don't know anybody, even just for a weekend, and having to walk a couple blocks by myself. I kind of, had a little anxiety attack, and you're like, come on.
That marathon, and then the traffic was kind of
Yeah.
diverted. Mm. It was weird. Well, isn't that going to be part of the story that we're going? No, well, let's go. There was a marathon. Well, coincidentally, this world on that particular marathon, a
Mm-hmm.
good podcasting sister friend of mine was there running. She stopped podcasting now. She's running. She's called A Random Nobody. You can follow her. She still has content, great content.
That's what it's called?
Yeah, it's called A Random Nobody.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. If you go listen to her, she's great. If you follow her on Instagram right now, she is there, but she puts most of her content in terms of running. So she was there, and I was like, "What? You were actually?" By the time she was finishing her race, that's when we were walking into the podcasting crowd.
Oh.
Yeah.
And she
So
didn't know it was going
she had no
on.
idea until I saw the
Yeah.
picture. I was like, "What? We were in the same city around the same time." I think she's from either Boston or New York, one of the two. So she'd come up for that particular one. But hey, it was a great marathon, and
Yeah.
it gave us something to talk about regarding the podcasting and marathons and how people feel whenever there's a marathon going on and you have to be navigating your way around it. But yeah, that was
Right.
it. And I think it was a great weekend. I
It
do appreciate Jen
was.
for everything and hanging out with me and tolerating me and yeah, everything that happened. The weekend was great. We met podcasters, hung out with podcasters, created connections. Some of the
Mm,
podcasts we met, we will be coming on the show. I've agreed. And maybe some other new ones who may see that content may decide, hey, you know what? We saw somebody here and they did it, or and they were because of African audience. I want to show up. So who knows? Guys, just keep on showing, subscribe, like, and yep, you'll be notified regarding who's coming. And you can join in and leave comments as well. So Jen, take us home.
for sure. Okay, and we thank you for joining us. We hope that today's conversations have inspired and enlightened you in some way. If you found today's episode meaningful, please consider sharing it with friends, family, colleagues. Our collective awareness and advocacy play a crucial role in creating positive change. And please stay tuned for more engaging content as we look forward to continuing these important conversations. So, we appreciate you being a part of Work by Accident, Sambaza collaboration. And until next time, we will say, take care. At this time, we're going to go ahead and conclude the episode. We greatly appreciate you listening. We invite you to follow us on social media. On Instagram, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. On Twitter, it is Woke by. On Facebook, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. We also have the new website up, www.wokebyaccident.net. Please check us out. And also follow us on all of your favorite streaming platforms. And please leave a review and share feedback. You can also reach out by Gmail, wokebyaccident@gmail.com. And every time you listen, we appreciate it so much. Thank you for listening and take care.